As you can imagine, it was a very, very tense situation.
Some days for journalists. Some days the news fates are in control.
The courthouse family is just devastated.
The fates of journalism, without notice, will snatch up reporters and swirl them out of their routines and into the vortex of horror.
And I heard the shots.
Everybody off the sidewalk!
March 11th, 2005 in Atlanta. Reporter Denis OHayer and photographer Richard Crabb, just outside the state capitol that morning, heard the snaps of gunfire a block away and ran toward the shot, ran directly into the horror of the Fulton County courthouse shootings. And for the next 16 hours, Denis OHayer would draw deeply from every skill and standard of solid journalism that decades of practicing it had infused in him.
I was here about a block away when the shots were fired. So you're seeing what we saw when we got there. There were 5 very loud shots, unmistakably gunfire. We looked at each other and said, those are shots, and we ran toward the scene. We saw the deputy on the ground.
EMTs tended to the wounded. Denis pressed on, wrenching the facts out of this terror and sorrow, reporting the facts live as he confirmed them.
And saw the guy run past me.
Witnesses and police describing a suspected rapist escaping, killing the judge, the court reporter, a sheriff's deputy, severely wounding another deputy, and later killing a federal agent.
This is the picture of the man that...
16 marathon hours
Denis OHayer was the first reporter on the scene
of on-the-fly journalism, flawless journalism, for a community that badly needed to know what in the world was going on. That is Denis OHayer.
He's the consummate newsman.
It was Eric Seidel, the news director for Atlanta's
News Radio 640 WGST
Radio, who hired OHayer in 1978, brought him to Atlanta from Connecticut, and daily commuters, fighting traffic that was bad then too, heard OHayer's first reports and listened.
Here is this kid with a terrific radio voice and a great sense of news. And it was we hit the jackpot.
Good evening. Welcome to 60 at 6.
I loved getting in the car and hearing him talk.
Reporter Donna Lowry took notice of OHayer in his radio work, his interviews, long before the two of them worked together at WXIA-TV.
I know when Denis does an interview that I can trust that he's done his homework, that he is going to ask all the questions that I want asked, that need to be asked. He had a way of pulling you in, making you feel like you were right there in the studio. He still does that.
19 years at WGST. Who else but OHayer could get a member of the band NRBQ on the phone when he'd heard that the musicians on stage were destroying Georgia's own sweet, adoptable Cabbage Patch dolls as part of their act?
This past New Year's Eve, an off-the-wall idea.
OHayer was Colbert, before Colbert.
So we give them death certificates.
Isn't this sick, sadistic, and an encouragement to violent people?
We kind of have a love-hate relationship with them.
From the satirically humorous to the anything but.
Joining us now in the studio for the next hour, Richard Jewell.
Who else but OHayer could convince the falsely accused Olympics bomb suspect, Richard Jewell, to submit to a rare news interview, live in the studio for an hour, just 5 months after the bombing? A revelation.
Most people don't think that you're the person who set off the bomb. The only person talking about how everybody thinks you might be the bomber is you.
They're not living in my shoes. Imagine living your whole life. Everybody that comes up to you, you don't know if they're going to say hello to you or if they're going to kill you.
Who will be the new lead activist?
Who else but OHayer could switch seamlessly, back and forth between radio and television, reporting for CNN,
the American people are not on the right or the left. They're at Kmart.
Producing and anchoring at PBA 30. And for 11 years, reporting and anchoring at WXIA-TV 11 Alive News.
Just take a look behind me. This entire block is devastated.
Knee-deep in disasters, uncovering secret deals in government and politics.
11 Alive's Denis OHayer is in the newsroom now with exclusive details. Denis?
Dia, this blue flag.
And the big gets were usually OHayer's.
Has it
opened doors or smoothed paths that hadn't been so smooth up until then.
I don't think there's any doubt that this will have a permanent and long-term beneficial impact.
In 2009, this student of history, economics, literature, politics, pop culture took on everything, with the chance to do long-form reporting and interviewing at 90.1 WABE. And so it was in 2010, at the height of the Atlanta Public Schools cheating scandal.
Did you encourage or wink at any effort to change students' answers or affect the results of the test in any way other than the students taking them themselves?
Absolutely not. I can't think of anything that would be more of a disservice.
OHayer secured one of the only in-studio news interviews ever of School Superintendent Beverly Hall, all about the investigation, asking her, as only OHayer could, point blank and repeatedly, if she cheated the students, if she broke the law, or if she was oblivious.
Either way, it's bad that somehow you failed in leadership.
I'd say that we still don't know what was going on.
She was indicted, and she died in 2015 before she went to trial.
If the investigation finds cheating, would you consider stepping aside?
If there were to find widespread cheating, it would be a shock to me.
The interview would be the only defense we would ever hear from Beverly Hall.
It's his delivery, it's the research, it's the time that he's taken to prepare for the interview. It brings the listener or the viewer into that conversation. Listeners and viewers are very smart, they're intelligent, and they can tell when someone is sort of just acting or performing their way through an interview, and they can also tell when the journalist has prepared and is prepared and basically knows their stuff. And that's what you get with Denis.
Consistently sharpening, expanding, and excelling at his craft 40 years along, showing us all how to master those news fates, those fates of journalism.
He can be tough and persistent. He has the integrity. He just has that quality about him that makes him the quintessential journalist. He makes everybody around him want to be better.